This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit.
There are 8,800 developers and builders registered with CREDAI, that's Confederation of Real Estate Developers in India. I knew the number of developers across India were 8,800 to capture like CREDAI. A sea of companies. How do you choose who to trust with the biggest saving chunk of your life to buy a property? Inevitably, it comes to one thing: the reputation, the brand of the developer. Do you know of him? Have you heard of the company? Who are they? All of that gets captured in the brand. Welcome everyone to the debate on power of brands in real estate. Today with my panelists, I'll get to the bottom of what makes a brand in realty. What works, what does not. With me on the show today, Jack Bastian Nazareth, Chief Executive Officer, Puravankara Projects. Jack, thanks for being with us here on the show today. Kalpesh Mehta, Partner, Tribeca Real Estate and Trump Organization, India Advisor. In the Delhi studio, Nayan Raheja, Executive Director, Raheja Developers. Sameer Jasuja, Founder and CEO of Prop Equity. We'll also be joined in a short while by Sonal Dabral, Chairman and Chief Creative Officer, DDB Mudra Group. Gentlemen, thanks very much. It's a very interesting topic, and I'm sure all of us have a lot to speak of. But Kalpesh, I'm going to start with you. You know, the industry has been attached with terms like unorganized, family-led, unprofessional. This is changing, that's for sure. But is it changing too slowly?
Yes and no. Industry changes at the pace that it does. You know, some might find it slow, and some might find it just okay enough. Personally, for people in the business, I know that people are making very heavy investments of their time and capital to change the way they do business. And one of the ways that everyone is changing the way they do business is investing heavily in the creation of brands. And I think branding, as today's topic goes, is an extremely important concept for this sector, especially at this point of time in the life cycle of the Indian real estate sector. As you've gone from an extremely unorganized to a very, very organized sector, it's the demand's exploded, supply's exploded. It's no longer people in their 40s and 50s, buying real estate, 2 to 3 kilometers of where they live. People in their 20s and 30s are buying real estate. They're starting their research on the internet. They're talking to their friends. They're looking at websites. They're looking at brochures. They're buying houses in cities other than the cities they live in. They're buying second homes. And at a time like this, I think investment in brands is extremely important for most players, and that's what you see happening.
But Jack, what's your opinion? Is it still a small percentage of developers such as you and of course the top 20 who have become conscious hugely of brand building in various ways? Or is it a large percentage?
No, I think for a real estate brand, it's simply a stamp of quality and trust. For those who haven't tread that path as of now, as far as brand building is concerned, it's just about tomorrow that they will start. Let's get back into brand positioning of real estate. I think today customers look for real estate brand, and for what Kalpesh just mentioned, I think a lot has evolved over a period of time. But having this, the brand positioning is going to be playing a bigger role in terms of establishing product delivery, which in turn will bring about a quality and trust factor amongst all people who buy. So therefore, brand has got a very important role to play, and I firmly believe that real estate companies, when they talk about brand, we should be very clear of promising what we can deliver, and we should not be promising what we cannot deliver, because of that real fact that we still are evolving from being an unorganized sector to a larger degree now in an organized scale.
Okay, So Nayan, what I can hear from Jack is that really it's not the bucks that you spend, it's the delivery, it's the trust that you can generate amongst your customer which will drive your brand. Yet you have to contend with top dollars, with probably a very North India developer such as you competing with big budgets of large developers. So would you think that just trust, quality is enough?
I think for sure delivery is the most important thing for any developer, and it takes time to build that trust. It takes years and years and decades of performance to actually build that kind of trust amongst people. Now when you talk about the real estate sector becoming organized, I think it has been evolving over time, and a lot of family-led businesses have introduced a lot of kind of foreign players, or they're getting CEOs from all over the world. They're introducing best practices. But how do you get down to the bottom of the chain? We still have to work with thousands of labor. We have to work with people down the line, and that's where the professionalism actually needs to come in, because at the end of the day, we are in the business of real estate. We are in the business of creating buildings. And that is only going to come when you have that professionalism going down to the bottommost layer. And that's how brands are built, when you have performance for years and years, and you see nowadays big developers actually, even they are kind of delaying on projects, or there are challenges that they're facing. But that's, again, primarily due to the fact that you have people down the line who are not being able to perform.
So how do you communicate that to the customer? Because at the end of it, you could start out with a very well-intentioned plan of delivering in time, but that's not the way it pans out, Sameer. The project life is so long in real estate, and you got to manage a brand through its entire project life, isn't it? And that's where the biggest challenge comes. It's not about spending big bucks, but about being able to deliver and create trust.
Yeah, so first of all, you're absolutely right, and everybody on the panel is absolutely right, that it's all about delivery and trust through delivery. I think it's very unfortunate that real estate is one trade where really one doesn't look at quality at all. If you manage to just get your home on time, you are kind of fine.
That's an interesting
right?
point.
So
okay.
That's the first point that I'd like to make, because there is no legal recourse that people have. Unfortunately, the developer community also, if you look at it from the past, was not a very professional community. They are getting professionalized right now, and like everybody else is also saying, they're trying to get professional CEOs in their companies and trying to professionalize the trade. But I would say that today even developers have really not understood the power of brands. It has just started to happen now, where you're seeing that a branded developer, and definition of branded over here according to me is the belief that the consumer has that he will deliver on time and he will get his flat, and he will not have to go to court to be able to get a delivery. So that's the single biggest brand parameter in real estate. Is the first biggest challenge that developers have to overcome to become the so-called brands, and consumers today are even happy with that. Forget quality of construction and forget everything else, because across the board you don't see that. So if there are developers now coming in, giving that delivery, giving that the quality and executing on time, and most importantly I would say fulfilling their obligations with respect to the legal contract that they signed. So if they're delayed by 12 months, they should be willing to pay that penalty, which is marginal compared to what the consumer has paid. And not worth losing a brand on. Absolutely.
So here is some very interesting data from Prop Equity. Let's take a look at a couple of cities. What can getting the brand right, delivering on your brand promise, get to you as a developer from the customer? You go to Whitefield, Bangalore. Market shows a jump of 37%. That's the overall market in Whitefield, and we're talking about 2009 onwards to the first quarter of 2012. Now you look at branded projects and homes, and what have they risen by? 46%. That's the differential, 9% in a Bangalore market. Come up north and you will realize how much more brand conscious people get. Navi Mumbai first. Overall appreciation in this market has been 23% over the last 2 years and 1 quarter. But if you take branded projects, they've risen 39%. Now that's a differential of 16% over 2 years, or almost, let's even take 2.5 years. In the National Capital Region, Noida market, 42% rise in prices of branded projects and 28% in non-branded projects. This differential between overall and branded market is 21%. Gurgaon now. overall appreciation 70%, and branded housing projects have risen by 91%. So that differential of 20% is the Gurgaon market that we are talking of. The graphs are up there for you to see, but that's the interesting part, Jack. Investing in building your brand, whether it's delivery, whether it's quality, can reap you a lot of benefits. But is it benefit in just sales, or can developers also now see tangible benefits in terms of the pricing that they can charge on projects?
Yes, I think statistics say all the numbers and the words. I think a buyer would be willing to pay a higher price, primarily because real estate now has evolved more as a service rather than just a product. We have to take cognizance of the fact that the product delivery capabilities of every developer have to be understood. And I think that is what brands make a difference. Over a period of time, you have established yourself as a player who delivers. I am not saying that we need to be complacent about delivery of late deliveries. There is a point that we need to deliver, use technology, but at the same time develop a brand of conscious people, and that value chain is very huge. For example, brands cannot be built just on terms of being in print media. I think a lot is at stake, from laborers to employees to buyers to resellers to agents to brokers. So brand gets built over a period of time, and yes, there is a premium that buyers are willing to pay.
Kalpesh, would you agree? I'm sure that must be the reason why you're associating with a name like Donald Trump, that if you get the right name, a right brand, there is an appetite in the market for a big brand.
Yeah, absolutely, Manisha. You know, to take a step back, you know, real estate essentially is a consumer products business. You know, consumer is buying the most expensive product that she is ever going to buy in her lifetime. And as you've seen, and as we've all seen across various consumer products, brands always command a premium. But you know, what does a brand communicate, right? At the most basic level, a brand communicates a certain level of quality. It communicates a certain level of product and service experience. Going beyond, it communicates certain attributes that a consumer might want to, you know, relate themselves to. When you then jump into luxury, a good brand communicates all of the above, and it also communicates, you know, things like sophistication, things like status, things like wealth. And what we've seen across the world and in India is that good brands consistently command a significant premium. For example, for Trump properties around the world, and you know, there's statistics from New York, Toronto, Istanbul, Manila. We've seen a premium of anywhere from 20 to 60% internationally, and I think that will be replicated here in India as well.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break with that thought. A big name, an international name definitely works, but what else works to create a brand? Is it also hip-sounding names for projects? Is it great designs and stylish homes? Celebrities endorsing a brand, or just a great creative? Are there other innovations which will extend to out-of-box thinking, which could also make a brand last in real estate? All of that when we come back.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV Profit.
According to an Ernst & Young 2011 report, real estate companies spend over 2,200 crores in print ads alone, which is around 42 crores a week, out of which Mumbai spends 360 crores in a month. That's 7 crores a week. Add to this hoardings, digital, television advertising, and property fairs, and the figure could go up substantially. The question is, how well is this money being spent? And can big spends make the big brand in real estate? Jack, first up, we all talked about how it takes time to build a brand. It takes quality of delivery to build a brand. But if you look at the way spends are happening, it seems that most developers are hoping that big bucks can get them the brand as well.
Yes, Manisha. See, the industry, if you're talking of statistics of the last 1 year, things have changed. You need to do some hardcore selling, and hence maybe the print media is having that kind of spends. But don't forget that the buyer demographic has evolved over a period of time. Truly speaking, a lot of online marketing really yields in results, because I think it's just not print media or hoarding where a brand is going to be created over a sustained period of time. For information-based understanding, it is the online marketing that brings in most of the effort. These spends are primarily getting larger because of what is happening in the last 1 year. There has to be hard selling done given the macroeconomics of the country now.
So you talked about digital medium, so that's one, but is a lot of innovation happening now in the digital space, and beyond that, are you doing a lot of other things as well which are different?
Yes, I think as a part of the brand, I think there are 2 or 3 other things that we need to do. One is in the cities that we build, I think we need to take the corporate responsibility of developing parks, maybe some roads across our projects, looking at some areas where we could do improvement from an ecology, from an environment point of view. That is one part of it. More and more real estate from a brick and mortar industry is now becoming brick, click and mortar. So you have to be on social media, you have to look at yourselves in terms of reaching out to people. In fact, one initiative that we did was now having a sales outlet open 24/7, and this was more for NRIs who can reach out, get information in spite of being there on the web. Last but not the least, I think a major branding that has really helped us is from the way we portray our employees, because I feel that they are the crux of our business. They are the advocates of the brand truly. If the value systems, if the processes that have been brought into the organization from inception to quality to delivery are spoken by the employees in the true sense of the word, the brand gets developed holistically.
We'll come to the people factor, of course, because that's another big challenge in real estate. How do you attract the right manpower? But look at a very interesting trend, which I've actually noticed in real estate only over the last couple of years. It wasn't so prevalent earlier. The trend of celebrity endorsements in real estate. You've got Twinkle Khanna with Supertech, Kangana Ranaut, I think that's the name, I'm pronouncing it right. Ajnara, there's more Shushmita Sen being associated with Asotech. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who inspires probably this entire country's youngsters, associated with Amrapali. You've got Yuvraj Singh actually endorsing a real estate brokerage firm, Investor Clinic. So it's not just the big players or the big developers who are getting the talent, celebrity talent to endorse their brands. Suresh Raina, there are just tons of them. There's Rishi and Neetu Kapoor who are associated with Gorsons. There's Konkana Sen Sharma with Eden Group, Kolkata based. So, Nayan, have you ever thought of that? Celebrity endorsements for the Raheja Group?
We have actually done
because
it.
you got to compete with a DLF who spends 200 million on just IPL.
No, we've actually done that in the past for project-specific reasons. But I think, it's the time of the jet age. You have to get noticed. And how do you differentiate yourself? So that's where the celebrities actually come in. However, having said
suddenly
that,
your ad stands out.
Your ad stands out amongst the hundreds of the ads that are being thrown at people, from all kinds of various channels, whether it's social networking or whether it's print ads or television, wherever you look. So you need to stand out. And that's the reason why these people actually come in. I mean, I've heard of, celebrities coming in and, they're claiming that the celebrity is actually involved in the project, but they're actually not. At the end of the day, it's a marketing strategy to get noticed.
To get noticed.
Yeah.
Now, to get noticed is one thing. Clearly, celebrities manage to get you noticed, but can they really influence the buyer's decision? Kalpesh, what's your thought process in this country, which is crazy about Bollywood and cricket? Is that an easy way out? Hire a celebrity? Would you consider that for any of your future brands?
Well, celebrity-led endorsements always help in some way. But as we've discussed, branding for me is a much more holistic process, and it starts with the product first. And if I were to pick a brand to associate with my product, I would look at more of a product-oriented brand than a celebrity brand. or maybe a combination of both. What you get with the product-led brand is that you know that the brand is getting involved. You know, the consumer knows that the brand is very, very involved in all aspects of the product creation. You know, right from design, they're bringing in their best global practices into India in making sure that the product is designed in the right way. They're right through the execution and the sales of the product. So at the end of the day, the consumer will know that the product that she is getting is of international standards. You know, look, it's much like stepping into a Four Seasons or a Ritz-Carlton or an Aman resort around the world. You know that no matter who owns the hotel or who built it, because Four Seasons has put their name on it, one can expect a certain level of quality. So if I were to pick between product-led versus celebrity-led brandings, I would probably go with product-led branding. Having said that, celebrity branding has its place, and it works. It works very well at an emotional level. It works very well when it comes to product recall. You look at watches to luxury cars, etc. They all have celebrity endorsements. But when a consumer is buying, let's say, an Omega watch, she's not buying it because Abhishek Bachchan is endorsing it. She's buying it because Omega is a great brand and a great watch in and of itself. She doesn't believe that Abhishek had anything to do with the design of the watch. She's buying it. Abhishek helps in creating brand recall. So that's my limited point.
Well, I mean, we're talking about an Omega which has had years of advantage over anybody in real estate in this country. But explain to me, Samir, when you look at a product, so one is the way Kalpesh is going, which is tie up with a fantastic name like Donald Trump and some of the international names, which automatically you get the brand advantage. Whether it's a Four Seasons, you get that brand advantage. People know what product to expect. But what if you are, 20 years or even 10 years in this industry, you don't have that advantage. And the ads, product-led ads that I see look like Photoshop pictures to me in print.
But that matters. Actually, there's a third way, which actually one of the leading developers, I would say leading, because they've actually captured the imagination of the entire North India market by coming out with fantastic elevations. This is Ario that I'm talking about. They came out with their first project in North India in Gurgaon called Grand Arch. And just because of the fascinating elevations that they selected, that project got a premium of 20 to 25% and repriced the whole golf course extension market. And today, just because purely of a smart advertising campaign, coupled with the great elevation that they created,
they could create.
They have actually managed to charge a premium on their project by 25 to 40%.
Okay, that's
so there is
very
a third way of going about it,
which is very smart advertising, but good product advertising. Right? I mean, people are not doing clutter breaking. Ario might be one example, I would say that most ads are very forgettable.
But like I said, initially,
if you change the logo of the company, you wouldn't know which project you're seeing.
I don't think that's really as important as somebody who can actually bring value to the table. I can give you an example of our company. We just tied up with one of the largest construction companies in the world, the people who built the Burj, and we advertised a project with them, which is the tallest building in Gurgaon, and we're going to be building the tallest building in Delhi also with them. And that people understand.
That's an interesting breakthrough model, where you get to either a tallest building and suddenly you get noticed, now, isn't it?
There is that kind of holistic, that halo effect of the Burj that's coming onto the tallest building in Gurgaon. There's other developers in Bombay who are tying up with brands like Armani, and there are Versace Tower and things like that coming up. So that actually really adds value, because they're bringing construction expertise, they're bringing furniture, they're bringing interiors, they're actually bringing knowledge to the table.
The contractor, if it's a reputed contractor, adds a lot of value. In being able to sell the product.
So understood. That's by tying up with an already established brand where you know what will be delivered to you as a product, you have that basic trust, brings you instant recognition. That's riding on another brand's importance. But Jack, I'll come to you. I mean, there's something that I saw on the Puravankara website, which I thought was an amazing tool, video tool, where you could actually see the entire route from Puravankara to your Venezia project. That, according to me, would be a little more clutter breaking than those lookalike ads that I see in newspapers. At least I get to see the property.
Yeah, Manisha, see, what happens is when a buyer is making an informed decision, this is akin to marriage actually. There's so much of emotion. You've got multiple friends advising you, especially if you're not in the city. I think so much of advice, sometimes it confuses the buyer. We came out with a simple process in terms of saying that let us be very clear about what we are going to deliver. Maybe we are going to have a project next to a 100-feet road, Vinizia in question, with all the water bodies. But people should also know that the access road before the 100-feet road is a 60-foot road. So we actually had this whole idea of having the entire road shot from whichever destination you wanted, so people get a clearer picture. I think, again, I'm coming to this basic elemental thing of real estate being a service more than just product. Because like you rightly said, you take any print ad across the country, just put your hand across the logo and you will not know which developer it is. So I think it is time now that product differentiation needs to be done from the service element, from the quality element, from the trust element. And more importantly, this differentiation will lead you to become leaders in the way people perceive you. And that is where the differentiating factor remains.
So if there's a new developer, Samir, I want to get your perspective. Should he go the way Nayan and Kalpesh have gone, which is just tie up with one big brand which already has a brand promise? Or do you build steadily with, let's say, celebrities, out of box, any kind of innovative tools together, an Indian brand?
I'd answer that, but I'd just also like to tell you that people give print ads in this country, developers, as a lead generation tool. So I've met many developers who just want to go to print because they get 30 inquiries and they convert one out of them. Now, to answer your question, depends on the segment that you're catering to. So if you're catering to a luxury segment, you may want to go with what Kalpesh recommended, a project-led, product-led kind of brand. But if you're catering to the middle class or the affordable segment, you may want to go with a celebrity, right? So it really depends. If you're going with the professional class, then you want to go with the right elevation, the right contractor, the right architect, because they value that much more. So it depends on which segment that you're catering to, and that will dictate what marketing model they're going to have.
That's actually, I would just like to add a little bit. 60% of the market in India is, or maybe you can say 50% is investors and 50% is the actual users. And that's a very interesting thing, because the investor is only putting in money to make money.
He doesn't care otherwise.
He doesn't care to who you're getting.
But this is a northwest phenomenon. If you go to Bangalore or south, you will see that most of the projects are being sold over a 3-year period and not during pre-launch when they get all sold out because they're underwritten.
But it
depends on state to state as well.
But even then, the data shows, prop equity data is pointing out to the fact that branded projects do command such a premium.
Absolutely.
So if investors didn't care, right, your branded projects wouldn't command a premium, because even in a pre-launch phase, you would have to pay more.
In India specifically, branded definition here only means that you have the comfort level that you will get your apartment for sure and hopefully on time. So a Mahindra, a Godrej, a Puravankara assure that to you, right? Whereas even a DLF, if you look at that, they've been able to, you are assured that you will get delivery even if it's 5 years delayed, right? So that's the first. A brand means
you will get delivery even if it's 5-year delay.
That is the definition of brand in India today. It's changing slowly, but if you look at it and ask a consumer, that's what he feels. Will I get my flat on ever without having to pay an additional charge with respect to a super to carpet area change or some other kind of charge, hidden charges that come up later when the possession is due?
Right. So I'm going to actually take a break now and come back and find out how is this entire advertising creative process happening in real estate companies. Are they engaging with ad agencies at all? Is that something that happens? How extensively does it happen? Is the advertising world coming out with any kind of out-of-box ideas, or is their mandate just go ahead, get me the loveliest picture on the net and give all my features and just release an ad? All of that when we come back. The power of brands in real estate is our topic of discussion today. Right before the break, we were discussing what it takes to create a brand in real estate. Do you do it organically, or do you actually do it inorganically by bringing on big names on the board and suddenly getting up there and becoming a known real estate developer. Kalpesh, your views on it, because yes, we were saying that there are various approaches to it. There's no right or wrong way of doing it at all.
Sure, Manisha. You know, look, there are no shortcuts to success, and good brands take a lot of time to build. They take a lot of sweat and blood. In real estate, that means you have to deliver 1 or 2 or 3 products that people can touch and feel and experience on their own before you have a decent brand. Really strong brands take decades to build. But what do you do if you have a product that you need to sell immediately, and you're a first-time or a second-time developer? You haven't really delivered a lot of stuff in the past. How do you make sure that your product achieves its full sort of revenue potential? What if you have the intention of delivering the highest level of luxury and the highest quality, but you just don't have a brand? What do you do in that case? And I think in those scenarios, tying up with another brand that endorses your product or that helps you with taking the product marketing, taking the product quality to another level is a very, very viable option. It does 2 things. One, as we've seen, there are notable premiums associated with either domestic or international brands. So from a revenue perspective and from a profit perspective, you're benefiting. But what it also does for you in the long term, and from the perspective of long-term brand creation, is that you all of a sudden get associated with an extremely strong brand, which then elevates your brand in turn, right? So it's kind of like piggybacking. And I think it's one mechanism to grow your brand over the long term.
Okay, so piggybacking, that I understand. However, I mean, the money spent are huge, Jack. So how does the creative process happen? The fact that we don't see those many out-of-the-box advertisements out there, does it mean that the industry is still not engaging with the topmost creative agencies in the country?
No, Manisha, see, I think when you decide to embark on a journey to build a brand, you must be very clear that the agency cannot be there for a month and for a year or be on a project-to-project basis. The moment you involve an agency into the working of your organization, they need to understand your culture. It's very easy to probably just come and do a great creative for a project without understanding the core values on which products are built for the organization or for the brand at large. In our case, we have an agency that works with us. In fact, 2 guys are in the office in and out, understanding more importantly when a customer does not buy, they actually sit through and watch the selling process. They spend time on the site understanding how we build, how handovers are done for apartments. They also understand the facility management perspective. I think this whole thing boils down to giving the right kind of a brief to an agency, because if you have a vision, let's say vision 2012, 13 and 14 for the brand, and you work with an agency for these many years, I think your brand gets the sheen that you envisage.
So very interestingly, you must have a vision. I think a defined vision on what you want to do with your brand would be the first creative brief that an agency will need. Otherwise, most times, if you're changing your mind about what you stand for, what you want to actually go out there and talk about, it's a tough job even for a creative agency to deliver. But how prevalent is this practice? Puravankara is building a brand. I mean, it's very obvious and organically. What about you?
It's actually
Would
the same for
Raheel?
It's actually the same for Raheel as well. In the past, we've tried to engage marketing agencies on a long-term retainership basis, but it doesn't work like that because it's slightly unpredictable in nature. You don't know when your next project is going to come out because of government approvals, so there's always that uncertainty. So you prefer working with people who will work on a project-to-project basis. You work with different people for 3D renderings, you work with different people for your brochures, you work with different people for advertising. In fact, we hire our own in-house department, which has some of the best people that we've kind of gotten together. And Because it's a daily kind of a thing that keeps going on.
So I've also heard that the agencies themselves don't have those many ideas for real estate. They're very FMCG in their thinking, and probably just want to bring in those ideas which may not be applicable, which won't work, Nayan, would it then?
I actually don't agree. I think in the long term, you will see these agencies coming in, you know, as the companies themselves become more professional. There are less number of changes, you know, that kind of happen before a project is launched. In the long term, I think it will get professionalized, and as developers have more and more projects to launch, maybe if they give a fixed amount of projects per year, then it probably makes sense to get them on board. But at the moment, I don't think there are too many developers.
So the ROI on engaging with an agency, and I think there would be some level of frustration both at the agency level and you know, within the company if you don't feel that one is getting the best out of them. So let's think about, you know, is there any kind of creative out-of-box stuff happening in real estate? I mean, there is. I've gone through some of the stuff and I see Ashiana Housing. That was one developer which decided to take you through a living experience, allowed you to live in their flats. Then Tatas are doing something in the CSR space. So Jack, I'm going to come back to you on that. I mean, a lot of companies, not just in real estate space, but outside of real estate, don't even do product placements at all. Straight away, they associate with a cause and go out there and just, you know, use very, very different mediums. Have you ever thought about doing something like that? Because you spoke about CSR at the beginning, but is there a thought process of doing something beyond just the project's product and service?
Yes, Manisha, for us, I think the brand is, again, I'm saying this, I'm repeating it, but it's very holistic. You know, we currently embarking on training for our masons, for bar benders, for shuttering guys. It is a part of our CSR activity. The idea is to bring quality of life to all the stakeholders. For example, in Provident, where the property is very close by village, we have adopted. We work very closely with the Panchayat in terms of ensuring at least the basic sanitation, you know, health, hygiene, the factors are maintained within this within the village. Within the town, we have adopted a lot of parks and playgrounds. We promote local sports, arts, a lot of culture. You must have seen a lot of sponsorships that we do. The idea is to reach out to different demographic of people who have a passion about different things in life. At the end of the day, home buying is a damn emotional process, and you reach out to people differently. And I think it is going to evolve every now and then, and out of the box thinking. What works today may not work at certain points of time. As a part of Puravankara, we just don't stop at looking at future customers. Yearly, we have a program called Purva Connect, and especially during the school holidays, we conduct tournaments at these properties wherein we don't even probably do the facility management anymore. But then we get kids together, we have something for the old people. And the idea is not to sell. It is because it was a dream, it was a vision with which we created that community, and we feel proud about it. So my marketing team actually spends a day, you know, just meeting and greeting these people.
So that's, again, we're talking about one of the developers which has already created a very strong brand. Do you think it's a little too early for the industry to start thinking of, you know, CSR or projects which are different, not just a product sale, or do you think right now that's the first step? And brand associations with large international developers could probably be the best way to get your best foot out.
I think the timing is perfect now. I think the boys have to be separated from the men, and that's going to happen through branding. It's very important now, and developers have started to realize that the Godrej's, Tatas and Mahindras of the world, by being able to create a brand through their delivery or by sticking to their promises, which is very important, they've been able to command that premium of 20 to 40%, even when they are selling neighboring to an unknown developer. So I think all the developers are realizing that, and they're taking the right steps now. Hopefully, they've had their issues with respect to cash flows in the past, but I think there's a clear recognition amongst at least the top 200 developers that now they have to become brands in themselves by doing CSR or by doing other activities as such.
So they have to make a make a distinct presence felt? I mean, the brand has to be very distinct, has to grab the consumer mind space, otherwise it may not work. I mean, for lot of developers out there, there is no differentiator.
Unfortunately, in the north, good locations and good projects sell out before the first brick is laid.
So they don't need
really
to do branding.
They don't really need to do branding. With respect to that, there are enough underwriters out there. The reason why they need to do branding is basically to be able to sell their next project,
right,
and to be able to sell their project at a premium, which would only happen if they fulfill their promises with respect to execution and committing themselves to the agreement that they've signed.
So tough year, Nayan, will you be spending more or less? So there are two ways of looking at a tough year. That, okay, I will have to spend more to get more sales done, or second is that, okay, I'm going to get very conscious about my marketing costs.
I think the way Raheja operates, we're very professional about it. We know that if we have so many projects coming out this year, we have a fixed percentage of the budget which is allocated for each of those projects, and we kind of do the segmentation very professionally, that this much is going to go into hoardings, this much into print ads, and we kind of maintain that. On the sides, things like CSR and environment, I think that's a more personal choice. Raheja as a group, definitely, I mean, we are working with the laborers' children, we are working with the wildlife in this country, so we do it more out of our social obligation as a business house.
Rather than a brand building exercise. That's most of the developers' thought process.
Interesting data point with you for this program. 2% of the sale value is what a developer typically sets aside for marketing, and out of that, about 70% goes into print ads.
All right, gentlemen, very, very interesting discussion. Pretty much the consensus is the money spent are big, the tools used for branding have gone way beyond just simple print advertising, innovations are visible, and the power of brands in real estate is for real, both for the consumer and for the developer, who does reap tangible benefits by creating a visible brand backed by delivery, quality, service, maybe celebrity endorsements, maybe foreign tie-ups, but all of those are being used depending on what product you have. We'll sign off on that note. A big thanks to my panelists here. Jack, thank you very much. Kalpesh, pleasure to have you. Nayan, Samir, and of course, on the other side, this is not over, because we still need an advertising world perspective on how they view the emerging real estate sector. Is it a mouth-watering pie for them to target? Is it too nascent? How creative is advertising out of that sector? And we'll be joined by Sonal Dabral, Chairman and Chief Creative Officer, DDB Mudra Group. That's right after the break. Advertising world's perspective of real estate sector in India when it comes to creating powerful brands. Let's get a perspective on that with Sonal Dabral, Chairman and Chief Creative Officer, DDB Mudra Group, who's joining me from Mumbai. Sonal, thanks very much for joining us on this very interesting discussion. So let's start with what kind of change have you seen? You know, this was an industry which was unorganized, was doing advertising, but it was very basic. Has there been an important and a conscious change with developers working on creating a strong brand for their company?
Absolutely. I mean, as you just said, many years back it was kind of ad hoc for a long time, and even agencies used to get projects on projects to do advertising for real estate on a project-to-project basis. Now, if you see over the past 4 or 5 years, or even slightly longer, there has been a very conscious effort to create brands. And with that, one other important change that has come is that companies or developers are having a longer-term relationship with agencies. I mean, you've seen in the case of whether it's Lodha Group or with DDB Mudra's client, Nirmal Lifestyle, for example. So there's been a longer relationship happening, which obviously results then in better advertising, better branding efforts, and overall a kind of better scenario for real estate advertising in India. So there has been a big change in thinking.
There has been a change in thinking. So tell me, I mean, how much of creative work is actually happening? Because a lot of work that I see is still celebrity endorsements, tie up with big names, piggyback on some of the international names, or just plain product advertising where you rip off great-looking pictures, and if you take the logo of the company out, you can't really make out which developer's project it is.
I mean, there are. You are right. I mean, there have been cases where again the advertising is kind of ad hoc. But see, in real estate advertising, because a person is spending, I mean, for many people, it's a once in a lifetime purchase, And on top of that, this is one of the few places where you're actually selling a dream. Therefore, for everybody, it's a very considered purchase for any person who's buying it, because it's a big ticket item. Therefore, use of celebrity for the sake of using a celebrity doesn't work. Unlike let's say buying a banyan or probably potato chips, a celebrity might work. But when it comes to real estate, a celebrity has to play a very important role. Now, wherever that has happened, it's been working. For example, the use of, let's say, Jade Jagger or any other, let's say Armani. Now, they are coming in as part of the product. They are making a difference to the product. They are making a difference to the offering. Now, in such cases, that's what my belief is, that I think that's working, and that's good. There's no downside to it. But when it comes to just ad hoc, just showing the property without any branding thinking, then that's wrong, and that usually doesn't work, obviously. Like one example that again comes to my mind is, let's say, Nirmal Lifestyle. Now, we handle that account, and what they have done is they've committed to active lifestyle. Now, their choice of agency, the choice of partners, let's say the US Open and all that, everything is kind of dictated by the choice that they've made. Now, these are the things that will make the whole thing a little more professional, a little more something with a little more integrity, a little more honesty. So I think you are right. But the positive part is that there is more of considered branding happening now than it was happening, let's say, 10 to 15 years earlier.
No, absolutely. And Nirmal is a very, very good example, because there are partners as well in the entire Fit India movement. And yes, I mean, they I don't think have endorsed that much of product advertising, but more with a vision to create a brand. So just in terms of the spends in the industry, do you see a substantial jump over the last 5 years? Because some of the figures are looking extremely staggering. 2,200 crores, Ernst & Young says in 2011 was the print advertising by real estate companies. How does it stand vis-a-vis, let's say, let's not get into auto, telecom or FMCG, because that's a very, very big category. But compared to the other industries, which are probably also consumer driven, is that a big number?
Yeah, it is a big number if you kind of compare it to the past, but there's a reason for that, and the reason is that everybody's demands are growing. The bar is being raised in terms of the quality of construction, in terms of the quality of lifestyle. Now people are demanding big spaces, people are demanding car parks, which is a great thing, and I think because there's more money going into projects and there are bigger and better projects happening, therefore you have to then spend more to kind of market it, because then you have to get those returns back. But I've got a feeling that, I mean, that's what, again, my belief is that what is being spent right now is in keeping with the offering that's being made. So, I mean, and as you said, for example, the more brands start to do advertising or marketing outside of just showing the picture of the property or picture of the amenities that they are selling, but start to do things like, for example, let's say that Marks for Sports that you talked about, that which Nirmal Lifestyle is doing with NDTV, or for example the kind of branding, for example, Rustomji did with children-friendly spaces, or so those are examples that are telling you that money is being spent well.
Sonal, what about the quality of manpower? Now, one is agencies such as you, but is it a big challenge when you're working with companies? Leave aside some of your big clients who've obviously done good breakthrough work, but in general, the industry doesn't attract great talent, also is expected to be, or at least known to be, very promoter driven. In the creative process, is that a big hindrance to you?
No, I mean, fortunately, the people that we've dealt with have been extremely professional, you know, like as good a marketing guys as from any other field. But what you're saying might have been true for, let's say, again, 10, 15 years back. I think real estate industry has taken a big change. There's been a big change in terms of the kind of people that are coming in to run those companies. And everybody has realized that because of the huge competition and because, again, the amount of money that's being put into, let's say, the marketing and the money that's going into even building those properties, it's very important, it's pertinent that good people come to run those companies. And fortunately, till now, those are the kind of people that we have dealt with. So if, for example, the kind of clients that you are talking about exist, then they exist in all industries. You know, there are always good clients and bad clients. There are, you know, less evolved clients and more evolved clients. So, but thankfully, you're finding more of that in real estate than they were, again, in the past.
All right. Final question. How do you see this year panning out? I mean, we're hitting a difficult patch, and we do get to hear that it's going to affect every industry. What's your overall outlook? And then within real estate, do you think to sell more, they will just have to keep their advertising up? It doesn't matter as projects come up, they will just have to go ahead and look at advertising?
See, I'm from advertising, so that's my rosy roti, as they say. And so I'll be selfish to say that in bad times, everybody should advertise more, you know. And you have to be smarter and smarter with your, so to say, rupee. I've got a feeling real estate and many other big categories will continue to advertise. It's just that they'll need to advertise smarter.
Okay, so this is not a year which is looking as if it's going to, at least people shouldn't cut down on spend. Sonal Dabral, thanks very much for joining us. Interesting point of view. So you seem to have good set of real estate clients, seeing a lot of innovation, out-of-box ideas. Pleasure to have you with us. So power of brands in real estate, that's our topic of discussion today. And well, it is, of course, quality, delivery, which is the biggest brand building exercise that you can do if you are in real estate. If the customer gets his flat in time and you've got that record on projects over 3 to 4 projects, that's the best starting point. If you don't, there are lots of tools out there to get noticed. Engaging with agencies is happening. Out-of-box ideas are happening. Thanks very much to all my viewers for joining me today. I'll see you same time again tomorrow.